This is quite a tough time of year for those people who are new to France, and October and November is when all the bills seem to come in. It's a bit of a shock at first. It's like, why now? Why just before Christmas? Um, and it's really hard because you're not prepared for it, and you don't really understand what they're for. You don't know, it's like you don't understand. In the US you've got property tax. In the UK you've got council tax. You probably thought you knew you'd got tax d'habitation here, but it's like it all goes over your head a bit, doesn't it? When you're in the middle of buying a property and the excitement of moving and all of the other adventures you're on, and then along comes October, and a rather large bill falls on your mat, and you pick yourself up, dust yourself off, get over the shock, work out how you're going to pay it, and then another one falls on the mat, um, and you really, really think, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Um, I don't really remember what else comes in now. So there's the taxe d'habitation and there's taxe foncier. I've got a feeling that water bills come in. I have vague memories of the meter being read around about now. I don't think ours has been. Um, and then any biannual bills come in, and it's like it just goes on October, November, and you're thinking, oh, hold on a minute, how am I going to do Christmas? I think it took us a couple of years to realise that work out how we could go and pay, set up direct debits to pay over, like with in the UK, um, you can pay your council tax over, I think, 10 months, and you could do the same here with your both taxe d'habitation and taxe foncier. The water bill is biannual. I think you can do it direct debit weekly, monthly, but we don't do that. Then there is your bill for having the bills emptied, which is separate from council tax. That probably comes in as well. Then the water bill. So what we eventually did, everything went onto direct debit, and of course that made such a difference. And now when I see my daughter on Facebook going, "Oh my God, I don't know how the French manage," la la la, it reminds me that that's how we felt 15 years ago, 14 years ago. So that's something to be aware of. If you're moving over, be prepared. And if you're moving over on quite a small budget, then that's quite difficult. We were on a smallish budget. I don't think it was massively small compared to other people, but for us it was small. And trying to find, I can't remember how much it would have been back then, but you're looking at probably 200 or 300 euros for each, the habitation and the foncier, which is a lot to find, when you've only got a fixed amount coming in each month. So there's that. There's some anomalies over here, which I was thinking about as I was driving back. Um, I went to the hairdresser. I've put this back on because I quite like having it on. But she did. I'm really pleased. She's got hair off my face, which has been really driving me crazy. Every time I bend down to load the dishwasher, or bend over to do some housework, I end up with hair across my face. So I'm really pleased that she's done that. So that's an interesting thing in terms of, I've travelled an hour to see Jen, um, who is an ex Tony and Guy hairdresser. When I first came 15 years ago, I had my hair cut for the first time in our local town, and was horrified because I could feel the hairdresser um, raking around at the back of my head with a razor. That whole razor cut thing that used to be a thing, and isn't a thing now. And it was like, oh my God. And I came away with not very. I wasn't very happy with the haircut, and then it took me forever. And next time I went to the local barber and said to him, "Do you use scissors?" And he said yes. So I saw him. Then I saw somebody else, and then I found that there was an English hairdresser who lived 20 minutes away, Jane, and I went there for the next 2 or 3 years, and then she went back to the UK, and then my daughter found Jen, and I go over to Jen. I mean, it takes me over an hour to drive there, but it's worth it. So I get a good quality haircut for very little money, and she's a trained colourist, so when I do want my hair coloured, I get a really good colour as well. So having not been into a French hairdresser since 15 years ago, it might be that it's changed. I don't know. It might be things have moved on. Um, but it certainly put me off. A lot of I do hope my French friends aren't watching this. A lot of the women my age and older, French women my age and older, tend to have the same haircut. So it's a short haircut, short round the edges and then curly on top. And if they've started to go grey and they've attempted a home treatment, then they end up with red hair. Um, and I've been behind people in shopping queues where I think that they've had their hair highlighted, possibly by a hairdresser, I don't know, but the hairdresser has the highlights are all in a row, all the way around, all the way around, all the way around, all the way around, and I'm thinking, oh my god, I think I could do better. And I didn't do any training as a hairdresser, but it's amazing. So that's a bit of an anomaly. The whole, not really with the times, the hairdressing. Having said that, I have another friend who recently had she's French and had her hair cut. I don't know where she had it cut. She lives in Chauvigny, and that's a little bit more cosmopolitan. It's got a bit more vibe going. It's that much closer to Poitiers. And her haircut looked really good. So if for any reason I wasn't able to go to Jen, then I would ask Dean where she goes to get her haircut. What was the other anomaly? I'm not very good at this, am I? I don't write things down, so I don't really know what else it was I was going to talk to you about. I've talked before about health and safety. I've talked before about having the shelving with the chocolate leaning over, looking like it was going to fall on me. No, I can't think of anything else. But anyway, when you move over, if you're going to buy a house, oh, I know what it was. Nothing completely random, but I do random. Um, I was watching the Chateau Diaries last night, the latest Chateau Diaries, and it was about Kat leaving, and it was really sad. I mean, I like Kat. She's a great member of the whole team there, and there's other English people that have been there. I can't remember the name of the other one, but Kat was leaving, and Kat didn't know when she was coming back because Kat, being English, now has to calculate how many days she's been in Europe, and if she's been in Europe for 90 days, then she can't come back for another 180 days, which is 6 months, which is like madness. And the girls at the chateau are used to coming and going. They might go off for a month and then they might come back, and I just so sad that I mean, she's in her mid-20s, and I'm just so sad that people of that age and a bit older and a bit younger have had their wings clipped. Why have they had their wings clipped? Why can't they travel? Why can't they come or go to universities in other cities, in other countries? What purpose is there for there being that restriction that you can't come and go in Europe? It's absolutely disgusting, and I feel really sad that young people have been let down by the people whose names I won't mention and I won't swear, but I am really not happy with those people who are to blame. I'm talking government. I'm talking about those that came up with the really shitty withdrawal agreement. And the other thing, before I finish ranting today, is the regulations changed, the travel regulations changed for COVID, and France is no longer on the amber list. How France was on the amber list for so long, I don't know, when the cases in the UK are 35,000 odd and the cases in France are only in two figures. Why we stayed on the amber list for so long, I don't know. But we're travelling on Friday, and being on the amber list meant we had to have PCR tests before we leave, and then I had to sort out a day two test for over when we're in the UK. So that all changed at 4 o'clock this morning. I was up at 3 because I've got so much going around in my head. It wasn't very clear on there this morning, and it became more clear later on in the morning. And I've cancelled our PCR test this side, ordered the tests to go to friends of ours in the UK. 145 euros it's costing us to get tested, um, and I really don't understand why we have to make sure we haven't got COVID when we're walking in to a country that has got COVID coming out of its ears. I really don't understand that. Um, it makes no sense at all. I think that I have to fill in on the way back an attestation d'honneur about we're not coming back with COVID, we're not ill, we haven't got anything wrong with us. That's all I have to do to get back into France from the UK. Makes no sense, does it? Anyway, so it's a bit of a mixture, and I've probably got things off my chest. Who knows? A plus.